I'm Matt Estridge, and welcome to Live with Liv. Today we will discuss the newest research on active shooter that just came out. One of the doctors on the case is an expert named Peterson. I respect Ms. Peterson a great deal. I have shared many of her statements as evidence of the solutions the L.I.V.E program provides. Researchers say being a part of a set of available and long-term resources to preempt active shooters is far more important than annual active shooter drills. The study confirms that there is no reliable template for matching a profile to a potential shooter. Firearms used in mass shootings are usually handguns acquired legally or stolen, and there's little evidence that gun control measures would be an effective preventative measure for mass killings. Now, these researchers are experts in their field. What they have not been is counter-terrorism agents, lead active shooter instructors, risk and vulnerability assessment experts, and so on. Well-conducted drills equal preparedness. You don't have to have scare tactics. You don't have to cause trauma. It can be like a basketball walkthrough, as I always say, for the L.I.V.E program. If you have an effective plan, it is an actual deterrent to criminals or terrorists. I've seen that when I was in federal law enforcement, federal task forces, and also in counterterrorism. What about the 20% of active shooters never identified that slipped through the cracks? And now we have no plan for our students, teachers, or anyone else of exactly what to do. And what about the 80% of active shooters that they're going to try to identify and to compel not to be active shooters? What happens when anybody in that 80% slips through? Now you're going to see an interview pulled from the Department of Homeland Security's active shooter training video and the psychiatrist they consulted and what he states needs to occur for preparedness, which is a stark contrast between trying to identify 80% of active shooters and hopefully you get the 80% and then compel them not to be an active shooter and miss 20% of them entirely.
At best, paralyzed, which now makes you vulnerable to everything. You do not know what to do to protect yourself. That is the worst of all situations. When we think about developing psychological immunity or psychological body armor, the single most important thing we can do is to prepare. Set realistic expectations of worst-case scenarios. Prepare people, have a prescribed set of behaviors that are geared toward their survival. And it would kick in second nature, especially if what you do in that moment is the difference between life and death.
As Dr. George Everly indicates, the training process can turn that fear into positive action.
You need the detection. You need the deterrence and education of behavior recognition, rapport building, threat assessment education, and many other things. And you have to have, which has never existed, what to do and exactly how to do it when our children, teachers, or our society is faced with an active shooter anywhere. The mind has to be prepared. Have a great day. God bless.
What's important about this program to me is the how. It's very intuitive and easy to understand.
How we would escape, what those techniques consist of.
Practical application to the third grade up to a senior in high school. Why you do it, the how you do it, that's the most crucial part.
It's not enough to know what, you must know how to live.